few of us have gone for morning prayers. Before they come back, maybe we should just do a short recap of what we have learned so far. Um, so I would just want to ask, there are elements of a financial statement. What are those elements? Four elements of a financial statement. While we wait for those that are going to pray, let's just do a quick recap. What are the four elements of a financial statement? Madam Philomena, you want to help me? Ha. Any other person? Okay, sir.
Revenue, expenses, taxes, and the net income.
Thank you. Those are components of an income statement. So I'm asking element of a financial statement. The element you mentioned is under one of the components. What you mentioned is under one of the element of the financial statement. I wanted to say something. Exactly what you said. Okay, any other person? Put down your hand, Madam Mamati. Sir, you want to help me? The class is scanty. Where's Valentine?
Element of financial statement, balance sheet, income statement. I think
Thank you very much. You have really tried to help me. He has mentioned two. Income statement, balance sheet. Or you were in the class before now. See scope where you want from you. Eh? And now I'm asking you the question. What are the elements of financial statement? We talked about them earlier. You can remember. Cash flow. Thank you very much. I can hear you with the last one. Talked about income statement, balance sheet, of cash flow. What's the last one? Statement of changes in equity. And we talked about balance sheet. Balance sheet is a statement that shows what the company is part time at a particular period of time. That's a very summary of what is happening. And currently we talked about income statement. Income statement shows the profitability level of your business, what you earned in terms of revenue, or in terms of services rendered, the expenses you have incurred, in terms of cost of goods sold, that's the cost of producing one item per unit that you sell, and also your operating expenses. Any question so far? Because I am not sure I've given us opportunity to ask questions. Any question? You have a question, sir?
my question is just based on what we have done, the balance sheet and this income statement. I want to know, are they separate?
Who wants to help me answer that question? My finance people, not you, sir. No. Mama T, you want to help me? Okay. Mr. Son, no. Let me.
All right. Like we are to understand, there are elements of a financial statement, and those elements completed. Without those four elements, I mean, the financial statement is not complete. The balance sheet is just one element of the financial statement. So it's like sometimes you can prepare it in one single document, but each one stand on its own. Each one stand on its own, but it can be in one document, but each one should stand on its own. That means you have your income statement as a statement that stand on its own. You have your statement of financial position, which is balance sheet, as a separate statement. So, but they can be in one document. They don't necessarily need to be in separate documents. They can be in one document, but they are always stand alone. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So, to that, I would say that all the elements of a financial statement that we have talked about and we are going to talk about are interrelated. So, let me start with income statement. The final part of our income statement is what? Why do we prepare income statement? Let me ask that question. Why do you prepare income statement? To know your profit. You see that you have known at the end of the day, either 10 million, 200 billion, or whatever. That profit does not end there. It is linked to your balance sheet. We'll get to that place. And from that balance sheet, it is also linked to, what's it called? Statement of cash flow and changes in equity. So those four elements that we talked about, they are interrelated. And for the purpose of this RECP and IEE project, all these documents, all these financial statements, elements of financial statement are key requirements for the lenders to be able to access, or not access, assess our financial health as an organization. These documents are what they need to look at to know if your business is viable enough, and at the same time, is it going to give you the opportunity to pay back what you are borrowing from them at a particular time. Further question? Okay, sir.
Okay, with all these elements of financial statement, my next question is, do you prepare them in a certain sequence? Maybe income is the first you prepare. Maybe there is a sequence, or
Because they are linked together, the basic one that comes to mind or that is required for you to prepare is your income statement. That is the first one for you to know if you are profitable. Now, after doing, you now go to your balance sheet. That balance sheet will show you, okay, this is the entire assets that the company owes at the end of 2024. This is what we are owing by the end of the year. Now, the tricky part is, we said balance sheet. Do you know what makes your balance sheet balance? Yeah? Do you know what makes your balance sheet balance? Okay, can you tell me the formula for when we are explaining balance sheet? What is assets equals liability plus shareholders equity? Now, I put it to you that your balance sheet will never balance, not until you add profit elements to that balance sheet. That is the profit element you are getting from your income statement. It is what makes your balance sheet. That's balance sheet, but in the financial world, we call it statement of financial position. But for our own sake, that's why we are saying we are just calling it balance sheet. So income statement actually is called statement of comprehensive income, while the balance sheet is called statement of financial position. Statement of financial position, or balance sheet as we call it, is never balanced until you inject profits that you have made in a particular period into it. Are we together? Any other question or clarification? Akman, do you have anything for me? No. KC, nothing. Mama T, you want to say something?
Thank you. So I just want to ask, when you say financial element of financial statement, is also component of financial statement. Now you mentioned balance sheet, income statement, statement of cash flow, and statement of changes in equity. Where do we classify value added statement? Thank you.
Thank you very much. My value added statement is component or the element of financial statement that is statutorily required when we are doing our audited reports. For the sake of this, the major element of the financial statement that is required by our financials or lenders is the ones we are talking about. statement of value added can only be seen in an audited report. And that is, the statement of value add is to measure the impact of your business operation within where you operate or your space. So it is not, it is a statement that, yes, it is for us to measure, okay, how impactful our operations are in terms of what we are doing, value addition to our employees, or the value addition to the government in terms of the taxes that we are paying and all whatnot. So that is for the purpose of RECP and IEE, this component about is what required. Any other question? Can we, sir? So far. I'm just trying to buy time so that we wait for. We actually have a lot of things to cover, but it's better we take it a step at a time rather than rush and we don't learn. But in the absence of any other question, please let's proceed. So, statement of cash flow. Cash flow statement. While we were explaining, I think somebody already gave us the primary definition of what a cash flow statement is. A cash flow, the way the cash we have in our organization flows, the way it's being used. What are we using the cash for? Are we using it to buy private? Are we using it to buy Prado? Using it, are we keeping it as an investment or every week for weekend in Dubai? So how do you spend the money? That is basically cash is talking about. All right? The cash flow statement shows how money has moved through your business during the period. It shows the cash that came in and the cash that goes out. Basically, that is what your cash flow statement is talking about. Sorry. Yeah, do you understand? Okay. So, but now, we are giving different examples. Mama T is saying, we are using the company's money to go to Dubai. As an organization, you need to be able to tie that type of transaction. You need to be able to describe it. That, okay, this money that we used to go to Dubai, why did we go to Dubai? Are we going to Dubai for business, or Mama T just decide that this company, 50 million is sitting in the bank. Let me just take 10 million and go and enjoy myself. She will explain. And if she know if he explain, you know what I mean. So cash flow statement is basically, like we've said, it is just telling us how cash is moving, what we are using the money for. And just like we have discussed under balance sheet, where we have our assets, where we have our liability and our shareholders equity. And just like we have under income statement, where you have your revenue, you have your expenses. If you remember, expenses is split into two: cost of goods sold and your operating expenses. That's your net income. Under cash flow, we have three different headings. Statements. Okay, no, let me not say headings. Three different activities. Now, every money that we spend in the organization, we need to be able to describe it under three major activity headlines. Mati, like she mentioned, she's taking 10 million to go to Dubai. The Dubai she's going to, is it to go and do business or discuss business so that we can be able to make more money? Or she decide that, okay, this Toyota Camry I'm using, I'm tired, the AC is not cold again, or I want a car that I can come inside and relax even when my driver is moving. Or I look at it that, okay, how are we going to finance? Okay, we have a project we want to do. Where are we going? What are we doing? So the three activity areas under the cash flow is called operating activities, investing activities, and financing activities. You see all our operating, maybe we are paying rent, we are buying telephone for staff, we are paying salaries, logistics, and all those things. Basically under operating activities, our day-to-day operations, because the elements, the first line item under cash flow that we would have is our net income, our our what's it called, our net income, our profit or loss at the end of the day, to know that is the first line item under the cash flow, right? So after you have talked about your operating activities, the next point you go to is investing activities. That let me ask us this: from what investing activities, what are those things an organization can invest their money in? I don't know if my question is clear. We are talking about activities. What kind of investment can an be engaged in? The question is not clear. It's clear. Okay. Yes, sir.
Expansion of the business.
Expansion of yes. Foreign exchange. Explain that foreign exchange. Make I come on now. Yeah, explain the foreign exchange. Calm down. Calm down.
Perhaps, I don't know, some money set out for still some kind of for some sort of device or
That's yeah. Any other example? Yeah, so he was saying um, foreign exchange activities like, okay, maybe as an organization you have so much money, you buy some USD and you keep, or maybe you invest. Huh? No be me talk am now. So like maybe you buy your crypto. So it's just like, okay, you have excess cash. What can you do with it? It's just looking at how to generate more money. Treasury bills. Yeah.
Actually, I wanted to mention treasury bills because, and I think it just take the word out of my mouth. So, but another thing we could do, you could also, a company could also invest into another company. That is, they can buy shares of another company. So if they buy shares of another company, it's also under investing activities.
Thank you very much. Any other contribution? Any other one? In Sir, please remind me to write you a check after the class. Don't ask me the amount, but I'll write you a check. So the one I was actually looking for is investing in plant equipment. Let's explain that. As an organization, we are saying that we are spending, we are producing kettles, right? We have a machine that produces 10 kettles in 4, right? But we have access to information and somebody is saying, there is a particular type of machine in China that helps 400 kettles in 30 minutes. At that instant,
the organization and they are not generating money, it means the business is dying slowly. So if you submit a business proposal to Madam Funke now, in year one, they are seeing that, okay, we made profit of 50 million. At the end of the day, you add it to your retained earnings. In year two, you are seeing that your what's it called? Your loan obligation has gone up by maybe 400%, and they see that you didn't even make profits in that year. Your retained earnings is reducing in year two, year three is reducing in year four. They will look at it critically and say, okay, something is wrong with this business. What is going on? Are they spending too much money in their operations or because of producing these items? Or they are not generating revenue? So they will need to provide with what they have submitted to them. They will find their answers, and based on the answers they have seen, they will take that decision on your financial statement. Okay, so we see now. The pumps currently, they have a generator, they have generators, but currently we need to do like this. The assets is not really what? No, let's go. The asset is not what? Asset. The asset is not asset. What do you mean by that? By the time. Just leave it like that. I should just leave it like that. You have to explain for some of us that don't understand. What do you mean the asset is not asset? So in this scenario now, we see that the efficiency of the asset is not optimal. So if this continues for the rest of today, what do you think will happen? Would anybody be eager to come here tomorrow morning? So what are they going to do? They will lose customers. Next time we are trying to have whatever program, what will be in our head? We'll forget the fact that we have enjoyed this year or whatever, but what is lasting longer that we're talking about? At that place, there's no ventilation, they are generating only the work. This one, that one, that's what we talk about. They have lost revenue. Are we together?
Yeah.
Sure. So, the element of changes in equity. Now, somebody asked a question earlier about which financial statement are we preparing first and whatever, and I mentioned that all these financial elements of this statement are linked to each other, right? Now, the first one we talked about is the net income that we have that makes our balance sheet to balance, because your net profit, you now have to take it. That net profit is, okay, the management, they've spent a lot of money in generating revenue. This is what you have left. We have generated 20 million, we have spent 15 million. The net profit is 5 million. That 5 million now, that's the net profit, right? We are going to add it to the money we are using to do business, which is our equity. Are we together? Now, that's 5 million now. In year one, we said it's 5 million in year one. If you are preparing our statement of changes in equity, our opening balance will be 5 million. Now for 2024, let's say in 2024, we are saying that we have generated another 2 million. That 2 million that we have generated, that is our net profit now. For us to prepare our statement of changes in equity, what we'll do is we'll go and add that 2 million to the 5 million that we initially have, which is that 2 million has been added to
5 million.
the 5 million that the business is using to operate. Are we together? So now at that point you now look at it, okay, the shareholders, Khadija, she's a shareholder, she has maybe 10%, Mama T has maybe another 20%. But based on our policy, we have agreed that we pay our shareholders dividend. So whatever dividend that we have to pay to the shareholders, we take it out and we'll be able to arrive at the net position for our equity. That is what the statement of changes in equity is telling us. Our opening retained earnings plus our profit or loss for the year, we take out what we are supposed to pay to our shareholders and we left it, okay, this is the actual money the organization is left to operate. Are we together? My confusing us. It's clear. So what we are saying is the statement of changes in equity is basically our retained earnings. What we call retained earnings is also what we call our net income. So I'm saying that for 2025, in 2024, we say that our net income was 5 million. So that is in 2024. But if we are going to prepare the statement of changes in equity for 2025, our opening retained earnings is from what? From 2024, Abi, which is 5 million. During the course of 2025, our net income, our profits for the year is 2 million. So that 2 million now, we add it to the 5 million that we have been able to save in 2024. It gives us 7 million, right? Yes. But however, we are saying that for statement of changes in equity, we also need to consider what we are paying to the shareholders, which we call dividends. How many of us bought shares from different banks at some point? So have you been receiving dividends? Yes. You've been receiving dividends. So what we are saying is for, I don't know which organization or which, for example, First Bank, if they are preparing this statement of changes in equity, whatever dividend they have paid me will be reflected. They will deduct it from the entire money that they said they are using to do business, for them to know at the end of the day what is left for us to do our business operations for subsequent years. Is that clear? Are we together?
Yes. Dividend will be removed
Will be deducted.
as net income.
Yes, as closing, what we call that is closing retained earnings. Are we together? Yes. Okay, so can we have a class, please? Can you write something down? Let's just engage ourselves quickly, please. So I'm going to give us different numbers, and you now tell me what we are trying to do is we want to categorize these transactions into either is a balance sheet item, it's an income statement item, or cash flow statement item. What I'm trying to say is, for example, just write it down. A company acquires a heat recovery system for 70 million. A company acquires a heat recovery system. H-E-A-T, recovery system for 70 million. Using funds from two sources now. Bank loan of 45 million and shareholders funds of 25 million.
Company is using what?
Huh?
Using what?
Using funds from two sources. One, bank loan of 45 million, then two, shareholders funds of 25 million. Now let's start. The heat recovery system the company acquired is what? Is what? Is an asset, I mean?
Yes.
Thank you very much. 45 million bank loan is what? Huh? Liability. Thank you very much. Shareholders fund of 25 million is what? Equity. Equity. So now, these three line items that we discussed is under what financial report? Balance sheet. Balance sheet. Is under balance sheet. Thank you very much. So we are good. Do you understand?
Yeah.
No. Okay, now let's take it over again. You said the company acquired heat recovery system for 70 million. Right? You got a loan of 45 million plus your own money, 25 million. So now let's talk about it in balance sheet terms.
Yeah.
The heat recovery,
I got only to bank loan 45 million and shareholders fund 25 million. Which one is the third one again?
The third one.
No, because I heard you say your own money.
So this is still the same thing as your own shareholders, right? capital is your own money. So what we are saying is, we bought an asset. Asset is under what? Balance sheet.
Yes.
We got a loan of 45 million. It's under what? Liability is under what? Shareholders fund of 25 million is what? Equity is under what?
Balance sheet.
Are we together? Yep. Now let's write another one. The company acquires a 2.5 megawatts rooftop PV. 2.5 megawatts, not say inverter system. 2.5 megawatts of inverter system. Yeah, 2.5 megawatts of an inverter system of 800 million. Financed via a green loan. Via a green loan.
Green, G-R-E-I-N.
G-R-E-E-N.
D-E-N, okay.
Green, color green that you are wearing. Right? Annual diesel savings, 400 million.
Diesel savings.
400 million. Annual what? Diesel savings. Operating and maintenance cost, 60 million. So, let's discuss this. 60 million. So first of all, let's arrive at our net operating expenses.
The green loan, is there a figure there?
Sir?
The green loan, sorry.
800 million is a green loan. That one
Okay,
is a
that's the 800 million for the inverter.
for the inverter.
Okay.
Yes, but our day-to-day operations now, we say we have annual savings of 400 million on diesel. Yes, we are saving 400 million annual diesel savings.
Savings.
Yes, 400 million.
What is 60 million?
That 60 million is our operating and maintenance cost. Do you understand?
Yes.
So now let's analyze this. So first, if you are going to calculate what is our net operating expenses,
Just 60 million.
net operating expenses.
That would be 460 million.
Sir?
460.
No, I don't agree.
It's 60 million now.
I don't agree.
Yes,
Okay, hold on. Maybe let me explain something a little bit further. Now, we are saying annual diesel savings. If you are saying that having a savings is what?
Is income.
Savings can also mean what? Income. Right? So we have annual diesel savings of 400 million. Right? An income of 400 million. And you are saying you are spending 60 million. Now let's go by it again. So first off, what is our net operating expenses?
60 million. 60 million or unknown.
Or
unknown. But they not tell us how much we were spending before.
You are saying net operating expenses. Net. So the 60 million you are spending is from where? Hydro.
Wait.
That's 340.
It is 340. Valentine, wait. How many apple chop?
No, it's one. It's 340. Let me explain the 340. It's 340.
It's 340. You want to explain it?
Yes.
No.
Yes.
But yeah, explain it.
Okay. I hope I get it right. So now, it's assumed that the inverter now is the cost. But now you are now saving 400. So if you remove that 400 from the 800, you are left with 400. Then you remove the, what are they calling it? The 60.
Let's move on. We said we have annual savings. And we said that annual saving, our savings is the same thing as what? income, right? You have income of 400, but you are expending 60 million, right? What is the balance? What do we have left? 340. Thank you. So, the effect of this is under what? Our operating expenses is under what? Income statement. So now let's do this. A company purchased an efficient processor for 83 million using bank loan. This led to an increase in cash sales of 25 million. So remember, under our cash flow, we talked about three activities, which is what? Operating activities, investing, and financing. So, operating cash flow. Under our operating now, we said that we have an increase in cash sales. Cash sales will fall under of our increase in cash sales. Yes. Under which activity? Is income. So that will fall under our operating activity, right? So we invested 83 million in an asset. We spent 83 million in an asset. Investment. Now that 3 million, we get it from? Mama Tia. Well, so we bought an asset for 83 million. But that 83 million is not our money. Company purchased an efficient processor for 83 million using a bank loan. I didn't mention it. I didn't read it. I'm sorry. Sola gave me half apple, so that's why I'm skipping. Sorry. So we thought that 83 million that we got from the bank is under what? Financing activities. So a practical example. Now, this Daystar Energy Company partnered with Nigerian Brewery for the installation of a 4.2 megawatt solar PV. The system generates 5,248 megawatts, covering 42% of daytime power. Lifetime of the solar panel is 20 years. So before this Daystar Power installed this equipment, they were experiencing high diesel costs, lower net margin, and high carbon emissions. But after they installed this system, what do you think happened to their system, to their operations? Sir? It's improving efficiency. So examples of efficiency that it has improved, what do you think they are? They saved energy. Thank you, Valentine. They saved energy. And what other thing? If they are saving energy, what do you think is going to happen to their cost of operation? Will reduce. And if cost of operation is reducing, what is happening in their bottom line of an organization? Profit would increase. And at the same time, them using this system would also increase the fines and penalties that Madam Khadijat will be taking to them to pay. So you see that they are saving costs, they are complying with environmental compliance, and at the same time, well, they are making money. Okay, so I want us to do this, but I'll leave it till tomorrow morning so that we have a lot of class activities for tomorrow. It's talking about how to want to show the impact of this transaction on income statements, balance sheet, and cash flow statements. But let's leave that because we still have a lot of things. Please let me go further. Yeah. So, we talk about ratio analysis and financial health.
like I asked earlier, if you go into the hospital today, say you are not feeling fine, you call the doctor, I'm thinking it's fever. Based on that, what would the doctor? Okay, let's do malaria test, and you go home. No, the doctor will do a series of tests. They'll do malaria test. They'll check your BP, your blood sugar, check your what again? Fasting. They'll do what they call ECG. They'll do ECG. They'll do analysis. They'll do that one. Eh? Eh? No. So if you say you are going for a medical checkup, if you are going for a medical checkup, what do you think? They will do echo. They want to. Oh, they won't strictly make it. But what we are just saying, I'm just trying to paint a scenario as to if, as an individual, we go into the hospital and we say we want to do a checkup. Now, as a business, we are saying that okay, we want to expand. What are those tests? What are those things that Madam Funke will check or will ask for or they want to consider before they say, okay, these guys, they are good to go or they are not good to go? So ratio analysis is basically saying that how do we measure the performance of an organization in comparison with other businesses before we can take a decision. Mr. Yes, sir.
This one we just finished now. So my question is, please, um, is it possible for a business that has not been making profit for 3 to 4 years, let's say 4 years, and but it's still investment worthy as an investor, like you as an investor seeing potential in it, it's just that it hasn't gotten the right, yes. Is it possible? The question is it possible for a
Yes, it's a tough call because as an investor, I will look at it. What is the need for me? If the business has been making losses, as much as you want the business to grow, that means you must have a clear cost strategy to tell me how you want to swing back into profits. And what am I investing to if you are making losses over the year? So the first question I ask is still what I will ask. If it's your money, will you put it in the business as? But that is not cast on stone anyway. It depends. If you're an angel investor and you want to do it as a CSR, you might still want to put your money into it. It- yes, if his risk appetite is high, yeah, it still depends on the investor's risk return policy also. So if you want to do it as a CSR, yes, but if an investor that your risk appetite is low and you want return on your investment, I'm not sure you'd want to put your money in a business that has made persistent losses over 4 years or 3 years. Sorry, I still want my organ.
Like she rightly mentioned, if we consider MSME business,
it's a known fact that within the first 5 years of the operations, some of them will fall apart. That is a known fact. So for a business that is making losses, the key thing you're looking at, because as an investor, you want to run through the entire business, be sure that you are seeing improvement in their ratios. One thing I'll first look is this net position, is it improving? Because it's possible I could make loss of 10 billion in 4 years' time. It has come down to 7 billion, 5 billion. I'm even hitting like 1 billion loss. It means that they are doing something differently, and in the near future, maybe in the next 1 or 2 years, they will come out of these losses. So it depends on how you are looking at this. But the key thing is, any investors that wants to put his money down wants return on his investment. And there's a saying that says, high risk will come with high return. So if you want to do that, it's based on your risk appetite, like you mentioned. Your risk appetite could be high. You might be a risk taker, but it's actually keen that you see that the business is a going concern, and you will actually move out of these losses. Otherwise, you're sinking your fund. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay.
Sorry, I just want to add to what you just. Basically, I think, of course, every investors will look at your financial statement, and most of the judgments, they're likely to be based on that your financial statement. But sometimes they will also look at those financial ratios too. That's just what I wanted to add. They will look at those financial ratios. Because sometimes the financial statement may say maybe you have a lot particular year. And then when they look at some ratios, they may be giving some promising aspect of it. So based on that, you may be considered. But they will look at all sides. I mean, they will consider all aspects.
Thank you very much, sirs, for your contribution. So the first thing I would say is, if a business, for every business, no matter how small or how large your industry is, there's always a break-even analysis that shows when, if you are into this business, it's going to take you 3 years to begin to make money. It's going to take 10 years to begin to make money. It's going to take you 5 years to begin to make money. So I don't know about so many sectors, but in the agricultural space, it takes you minimum of 7 years. Yes, you'll be making money, but for you to break even properly, minimum, if you are doing it very fantastically, maybe you say 6 years, then you start, at that point you can say that yes, you are broken even, you are beginning to make an industry that takes you less than 5 years. Within the oil and gas industry, you're in the oil and gas industry and it's taking you 5 to 6 years to make profit, just go and beg your village people. There's a lot of things you are not doing right. Sir? If it's an oil and gas business, between 3 years, 3 to 5 years. So, but it varies from different industries, for different space that you're operating in. So the first thing that you do, just like the question Valentine asked, that, okay, if as an organization, I've been in business for 4 years and I'm not making profit, what happens? Or what is an investor going to be thinking? So now the first thing you look at is, okay, what industry are you operating in? If it's an industry that the break-even analysis or your break-even point should take maybe 3 years or 5 years, and you are in your year 4 and you are not making profits yet, okay, the next thing that should be done, just like my Oga have mentioned, is if you are saying you are making losses, year 1, you make loss of 10 billion. Year 2, the loss you make reduces to about 5 billion. Are you making progress or not? Year 3, it reduces to 1 billion. Are you making progress or not? Year 4, it came to just 100,000 naira. Are you making progress or not? Now, if Madam Funke look at that number now, yes, you are making losses, but she's seeing that there's a progression in your performance. You have left the ladder from 10 billion to
just 100,000. That means you are doing some things right. So at that point, there will be initiative to know, can you give us your projections for the next 4 years? Let's see what you are doing for the next 4 years. What are your plans? What do you intend to do? Within that next 4 years, if you now go back to the situation of making losses again, ladies and gentlemen, but if in that 4 years you are saying that, okay, from that 100,000, you are making profit. Now, another tricky thing that she will probably be looking out for is, okay, from loss of 100,000, you make a profit of 1 million. From 1 million, you now jump to a profit of 20 billion. What does that tell you? Eh? Something is fishy. In our accounting world, we will say that what is here, wow, you have cooked beans. You have been creative with your numbers. So what you are saying is, you are not saying some businesses cannot make abnormal profits. You can make abnormal profits, but even the abnormal profit you are making is trajectory. It's not lift and fly. Any airplane where you see, say, from, if you do like this, you go like this. Now, as you go like this, it will come down. So, you want to fly, you fly like this, not like this. Sir, you cannot be short. There's no kind of, sir. Hold on. Please, let's take it one at a time.
Experience-wise, what usually happens is, I'm speaking from financials and I've seen numbers and I sit with numbers. You will surely see it. It doesn't, there should be it is like it's a trajectory. You just go. But it will not move, boom. It will never move. You will never see it move.
You disagree. Hold on. Valentine, hold on. Sir, you disagree. You are not a financial person, so okay, share your experience. Oh yeah, share your experience. What kind of business? Great. Get me right.
Okay.
You are making 1 million. You have said that, okay, in 2023,
Yes.
you make 1 million naira as your net profit.
Yes.
But in 2024 or 2025, you are jumping from 1 million naira to 10 billion.
Yes, sir.
What kind of business? Tell me.
Wait. Yes, the point I want to make is that it depends on economy. Okay. Nigerian economy is very possible. That's where I'm actually. It depends on the economy, one. Then secondly, it also depends on your chances of access to some funds from an investor. What if, my question now is, what if an investor comes, and you gave an example in the first, before we went on break, you gave an example. There's an equipment that is able to produce a certain quantity, and possibly you get an investor who comes to invest in your organization, and you are able to get an equipment that produces a larger quantity of your product, and you are able to sell a huge number of your product, more than what you have been able to sell in the last 5 years. That can change the trajectory.
Thank you.
Very practically, a quick one is these. We have all these shows where you get to talk about pitch. Yes, you get to pitch, Lions Den and all that. Those are platforms that you will see somebody that just has a prototype, comes with just a prototype of, I can change this water to wine. And you see somebody investing in it.
Before I say what I want to say,
I just wanted to talk on the revenue side, because we see the financials almost every day. So when we talk of revenue, there are two key factors: the price and the quantity. You could see revenue of 30 billion this year and revenue of 20 billion last year. And you're looking at it on the face of it, saying this company has increased their revenue from 20 billion to 30 billion. Not knowing that it was inflation that actually pushed that revenue up. And they were not actually selling as much as they could have sold. So we need to look at this thing and dimension it critically. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Because of our time, I stand before you and I say categorically that I have been seeing numbers for over how many years? And when we see numbers that are cooked or numbers that are being managed, we know. We don't need to go too far. I have been seeing numbers every day. If you tell me there are some organizations, if you still bring their financials to me today, I'll tell you this, and this, and this. So there is no business. If any organization will tell you, okay, there's possibility of doing maybe 80, 90, or 100% profit. But if you look at it critically, some factors give rise to that increase. It is not just your doings. Yes, we agree, what God cannot do does not exist. But ladies and gentlemen, there are some supports from somewhere. So what we are just saying generally is, for the sake of this project and what we are trying to do, yes, we are trying to improve our bottom line. And at the same time, we need to ensure that we are sustainable. Let this business outlive us. The going concern should be there. If you are looking at it, if you are looking at your numbers, sir, I will tell you for free. Prepare your financials now, this year, and you are seeing yourself doing like this. That business is not healthy. Something is wrong. The business is hanging on something. And in the shortest period of time, that thing will no longer be there, and the business will crash. So the best thing that happens for you to know that your business is healthy is, they will say that a 1,000 steps, or be 1,000 miles or whatever. It is better you go like this than you doing like this. If you present any paper, any financials to anybody, and they see that there is a jump in your revenue of 900 or 9,000% or whatever, they will ask you questions. Okay, so sorry, what changed? Like you said, yes, you've seen an investor. Okay, the investor has brought in the money. The investor's money is more than your own money. Ladies and gentlemen, you are not the owner of the business anymore. He's a shareholder. Okay, now hold on. The investor is a shareholder. Now, your own share capital, the money you brought into the business is 10 million. And this investor has brought in 90 million. Do you have a say? It's no longer your own. So that was why I said, whatever loan you want to bring into the business or an organization, make sure it is the one that will not choke you, that will not give you sleepless nights. You that, okay, you are the one taking the decision and whatever. If BOI brings in, they give you money or whatever now, and they look at yes, you are unable to pay back, they'll just come and say, okay, first off, the Land Cruiser that you are driving, you have gotten a house somewhere, they'll collect it now from duplex, they'll now push you to God will allow us that kind of thing. Okay, so financial ratios and why they matter. I think we've discussed about them, but let's just talk about it. Ratios help to condense large volumes. Sorry, financial ratios are created with the use of numerical values taken from financial statements to gain meaningful information about a company. What that is saying is, financial ratios are like, who mentioned something about interpreting financial statements. With financial ratios, you can easily interpret how an organization is performing. My medical check, my doctor is telling me, okay, my sugar is about maybe 7.8. You are seeing that one as what that is saying is that for the last 3 months, your blood sugar is really high, but the one you are bringing to us now, maybe in 2 days, you have been taking medicine or whatever to crash it. Then something is wrong somewhere. Or they are doing urinalysis and they are seeing some kind of stuff. So financial ratios will interpret how your organization is doing, first of all, on its own, before they now compare it with some others. Ratio analysis helps financial professionals understand company trend and performance using a competitive analysis. Madam Funke now and my Oga there will use ratio analysis to dissect everything in less than 30 minutes. In less than 30 minutes, you tell you the history of your company, the one that you do not even know yourself. You tell you between 2020 and 2021, your revenue went up by 20%. You don't know that, but you'll be like, how come? They'll tell you between 2021 and 2023, your revenue crashed by 33.5 percent. You'll be wondering, how does she know? Am I correct? That's why they'll tell you, don't worry, as we go on, ratios help to condense numbers, large volume of numbers into key signals. For example, if I come to you now and I bring to you if one bank, let's say UBA Bank of the financial bank statement of Aliko Dangote, one of his maybe Dangote Sugar. If I bring one bank statement now, UBA Bank, and I dump it on your table, what does that mean to you? You just be seeing the paper. This paper it does not mean anything. But somebody, financial analyst, in less than 4 or 5 hours, they'll be telling you stories about that sugar refineries. So that is what ratio analysis does. It breaks down large volume of data and it makes meaning to us. If I look at that statement, I'll tell you in the last 6 months, Dangote refinery Dangote Sugar generated 16.8 billion in terms of revenue. You'll be wondering how. Because I have been able to use the what's it called, the ratio analysis to break them down. I'll be able to tell you now I can now take that information and say, okay, which other company is producing sugar in Nigeria? I'll say BUA. I can now look at BUA documents. Let me see, how much did BUA generate? BUA generated maybe about 20 billion. At the end of the day, BUA is making profit of maybe 6. In that instance, you say, why is it? But now, to determine which company is performing best, like I said, you can not only use malaria or blood sugar test to decide if I am LD or not LD. There are a lot of things. And in so doing, they are saying that, okay, on this angle, from this perspective, this company is spending a lot more. What we recommend, you guys need to manage this, take out this, just like the doctor will give you medicine, Panadol or whatever. Financial analysts will also prescribe and recommend to you. Financial ratios allows lenders and decision makers to benchmark a company's performance against industry peers. So one of our objectives is to ensure that whatever documents we are putting together as an organization, proposal to some of these so that it will not be thrown out within seconds. Are we together? So, there are types of ratio analysis. There are different types of tests. I won't call them ratios now. I'll call them tests. There are different types of tests that will be carried out or that will be carried out to determine if our business is viable, if our business operation is healthy or not healthy. So, one of the tests, we call it is profitability ratio, or we say profitability test. Profitability ratio. From that word profitability, what does that test? What are we trying to do from there? Trying to determine the profitability level of the organization. The other one is liquidity ratio. Profitability ratio is used to assess the ability of a business to generate earnings over time. That is, are you doing well in terms of revenue generation? If an organization is making, for example, say 10 billion, just on the surface, let's just say we are using one analysis. One organization is generating 10 billion, the other one is generating 10 billion, but one is incurring losses, one is expending about 5 billion, the other one is expending about 3.5 billion. The net profit for this one is 5 billion, the other one is 6.5. Which one is doing better? Huh? The company with 6.5, right? So in Madam Funke's book, she will just say that, okay, based on profit level, this one is doing better. For Ilia's, Mr. Ilia's business now, when she looks at it, in terms of that. Now the next one is liquidity ratio. What does liquidity mean to us? Layman explanation, liquidity. Please, liquidity. If you are saying somebody is liquid, what does it mean? I'm coming now. You finance people should leave me alone. No, a lot of them are talking about Marty is raising hand. If you are saying somebody is liquid, what does it mean? Casey, if I say, Baba, you did liquid, though, what does it mean? If I'm saying you are liquid, that you are liquid, what does it mean? Okay, let me paint. Let me use this. Let me use this. Let me as an yes, he's not on seat. Let me use Valentine as an example. So today is what? Today is 29, right? So Valentine guy is my friend. So on the 15th of the month, I look at myself, can't balance. I feel like I'm just left with 75,000. That's on the 15th. I'm left with 75,000. From this 75,000, I need to buy fuel. Thanks to Nigeria, 40K. I'll be left with 35,000. From 35,000, Madam will tell me they need emergency 2K, they want to buy egg. Or daddy. Eh? You don't? But that's my accountability partner. Please, if you are coming, help us buy bread. Help us buy, they'll be specific. Please stop by at the Grand Square. Help us buy Grand Square bread. Or I go to old something, or old baker or whatever, buy bread. Or they'll tell you, sorry, we told the security to put the gas bottle in your boot. Please, when you are coming, help us buy. Now, I'm buying fuel, 40K, right? I have 35K left. If Valentine now calls me, that guy, how far? Today is Wednesday now. May we come out, may we go, let's just. At that instance, what do you think my response to him would be? You are wickeding me now. So at that point, when he calls me and say, guy, let's go out this one down, and I know that if Valentine will say we should go somewhere, any day we go out, we are not spending any 200,000. And as a man, I have just 75K. Out of that 75K, I've given you an analysis. I'm going to spend that 75K. What do you think I will tell Valentine? Baba, no worry, I did travel. Is that not right? Just to ensure that my space of composure is intact. I will not go here now and begin to preach it. Go out. No. But ladies and gentlemen, today is 29th. Alert don't enter. Now me go carry phone, call and say, guy, how far? Where you dey? Where will they go today? Based on that. God don't win. God don't win. Money dey my pocket. If you say me, we'll go chop this one, that one. At that point, I know that based on my analysis, the monthly allowance that I am entitled to for my boy is about maybe 200,000. If I now decide to burn everything in one night and the following weekend or whatever, I'm not allowed to go out. But at that point, because I have cash, I know that nothing they happen. Let's go. And I have to swipe card. I go wake up the next morning and I begin vex internally. I'll begin to get angry with myself like, you know, get sense, you don't have brain. How would you spend this amount of money in one day? But at that point, because you won't even think about it, because you are liquid, you just be like, okay, no problem. Or maybe now, Oga Casey now. Get one get away on the time. Say no. What would you like to eat? And I just feel like eating from Transcorp or Daddy Abuka. I want buffet. My guy will look at himself, will look at just 150K. And buffet per person is about 45 or 55,000. Just say, you know what? Let me call you back. I'll have to check my calendar if I can. This. But as far end of the month, money don't enter. No, before you call them, you go first send them. You go wait. This girl never read down. Say yes. But unfortunately, I'm with a couple of my friends, and I can't leave them at home. What do you think he will say next? All of them, everybody come, let's go. That is because he's liquid. He has enough money to cover the expenses that is coming. So now let's take it to an organizational level. Liquidity ratio is just basically trying to measure your strength. Do you understand? We are trying to measure as an organization, do we have enough money to cover our expenses, our operating expenses, or our liability in the immediate? Are we together? How much of debt you have in your business? We call it other people's money. Like we rightly said earlier, a refinery of $20 billion by Aliko Dangote was not financed by his money himself, by himself. There are other people's money involved. He took loan from somewhere. But before those people would have given him that money, they would have seen his books and they would have said, okay, in 5 years, this guy will be able to run the business operations perfectly. 2, he will be able to generate revenue. And at the same time, he will be able to pay us back the loan we have given to him. Are we together? So leverage ratio is basically saying, okay, how much of debt are you using to finance your operation? Higher or lower ratio depends on if, I'll say it this way, the higher the debt in your business, the riskier it becomes. The lower the debt in your business, the better for you. Like my guy is saying, he has an investor that brought in a huge amount of money. You are the major shareholder or the only shareholder before. But they are saying that, okay, we'll give you this $200 million for 70% of your company shares. You were the 100% shareholder, but now you are giving 40% of it. What you have given the person is the entire company. Because looking at it, somebody with 70% interest and you with 30% interest, if certain decisions are to be taken or some things are to be implemented, who will they go with? Is it the one with the 30% or 70%? 70%. So at that point, the higher the debt, the riskier it becomes. Are we together? Then efficiency ratio. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Say it is not ideal to actually use the current liability. That what we should do is to back out the current liabilities and focus only on long-term liabilities in computing this ratio. So I just wanted to find out what is your view on this. Because that is their argument every time, saying current liability constitute their payables to the supplier, and we know that payable to suppliers, they have spontaneous financing. It's just the financing you are entitled to for being in business. So I don't know. We keep fighting every time. So what is your own opinion about this?
Thank you, sir. Please, his question is not out of place. We'll talk about the leverage. But sir, in response to your question, I would say that if you are to compute debt to equity, in my own opinion, let us bring everything to the table. Because if you are saying, let's keep this one aside, what if you keep that one aside and at the end of the day, that one you are keeping aside now becomes a problem? Now, you are saying that, okay, my payables, my normal payables, and you deal with chemicals in large quantities. Your current liability is giving you almost 500, 600 million. And you are saying that you are trying to apply for a loan of 10 billion, but because it's 500 or whatever, you should not take it into consideration. What if you encounter some economic reality hit your business and you can't meet up that particular payment because you are saying it's current? But at the same time, BOI is saying, okay, it's time for you to pay back. Sorry, can we maybe extend or do whatever because we have a customer, a supplier that we want to pay. Why are you hiding that? Why not bring it to the table? Let them know what exactly your position is ab initio, so that they'll be able to say, okay, we agree with your position, or we do not. Because in situations where you don't bring that to the table and you need to keep running the business, you keep buying from that, your payable is increasing, you will not be able to meet your short-term liability or your long-term liability. Now, they are expecting that they have a repayment schedule. They expect that on a monthly basis you pay them this amount. But because you are with a particular supplier, and that supplier has been in your neck for so long, you rather want to pay that supplier and leave them hanging. But ladies and gentlemen, you are leaving them hanging, you are reducing your credit rating with the bank. Am I correct, sir? Because if you are not able to meet that obligation, your credit rating is going down. Next time, let's even assume, okay, over 4 years, you were able to pay them all their money and whatever. But if you walk into another financial institution the next time, what will they do? So, in my own opinion, let everything be brought into consideration before you calculate. So, efficiency ratio. This measures effectively how a company utilizes its assets to generate revenue. Remember what we were saying about the ACs, this building, their generator. They are using it to generate revenue in a situation where all of these things are no longer working right now. Tomorrow, we will not want to come here. Next week, if I have another word, I would rather advise telling me, sorry, we want to have an event at so place. I would really want to tell them, sorry, please don't go there because the service is poor, this one, that one. The AC will not work, the place is going to be hot, your participants. That means those guys have lost revenue because they have not used their resources efficiently to generate revenue. Are we together? All right. I think my class is becoming a bit slow. Can we just take like 5 minutes walk around, please? Let's just walk around for 5 minutes, then we come back and we continue. Just 5 minutes, please. Thank you. Financial ratios for RECP project analysis. What are those tests that our lenders will be looking out for to analyze our financial reports? What are those ratios that they will consider before giving a nudge to our project documents, or they telling us we should come back next year? So this ratio analysis, there are a lot of tests, but we are just going to streamline what we are talking about to the major ones, to the common categories that these financiers or the lenders we'll be looking at. So we mentioned 4 types of ratios. Can we recall them? Profitability ratio, leverage ratio, efficiency ratio, and liquidity ratio. So can somebody tell me what profitability ratio is? Profitability ratio. Thank you. Profitability ratios measures the ability, measures how how a company generates revenue over a period of time. The higher the profitability, the better. That indicates that yes, the company is doing fine. Liquidity ratio measures how, sir, how what? No, no. Oh, thank you very much. How a company can meet their short-term obligations. Leverage ratios. This is talking about your debt to equity ratio. How much of debt are you using to finance your business operation? And at the same time, how much can you cover? If you give it this money, how many times can your cover to pay off back what you are owing? Then the last one is the efficiency ratio that talks about how well you utilize your assets to generate revenue. So let's pick it one after the other. Profitability ratio. We have 2 or 3 types of ratio under this. The first one is gross profit margin. Gross profit margin. What is gross profit margin? Gross profit margin is basically telling us that, okay, we can test for gross profit of an organization. What I mean by that is, let's use the gross profit. Your cost of production. Let's see, are you actually efficient with your cost of production? Is your cost of production minimal or it is high? So gross profit is revenue minus what? Production. So gross profit margin, the formula is gross profit over revenue times 100. But how do you determine your gross profit? How do you arrive at your gross profit? Thank you very much. Gross profit is your revenue minus your cost of production, or it's what we call the cost of goods. Are we together? Exactly. That is one. Gross profit margin. The next one, the next common one is your net profit margin. That is, what percentage of your revenue are you recognizing as net income? That is net profit margin. Just like you have for gross profit margin, is your net income or your net profit over revenue times 100. That is the formula. How do you arrive at your net profit? You arrive at your net profit by deducting what from gross profit? Eh? Tax, but it's not just tax. Thank you very much. So we arrive at our net income or net profit by deducting the following from our gross profits. Operating expenses. All your operating expenses, whatever you want to put under your operating expenses. You have interest. You have gross profit margin. Gross profit margin. Who can help us? I won't say. So how do you arrive at gross profit?
the revenue minus cost of goods sold or cost of production, because for some of us, cost of goods sold might be yes. So our cost of goods sold is the same thing as our cost of production. Cost of goods sold is what we also call our cost of production per unit. So now we talked about gross profit and how our gross profit now we talked about our net profit. How do you arrive at our net profit? We said our gross profit minus operating expenses, minus interest, minus tax, minus depreciation. Yes. No. So let me explain. Let me try and explain. So we are selling, this is what we are selling. We are selling bottled water. Right? But this bottled water didn't just come, it just didn't drop on the table or just didn't find its way into the warehouse. It went through a process. Right? So, but for a business, what we are trying to say here is this bottled water, now, we are selling it per bottle, right? How much does it cost us to produce this bottle? We are selling it for 100 naira. That, okay, produce this bottle, it cost us 30 naira. Our cost of goods sold is what? That 30 naira, which is the same thing as our cost of production. Right? We are selling for 100 naira. But this bottle that we are selling for 100 naira, how much did it cost us to produce this? It's costing us 30 naira. Right? Now, for your own organization, you are producing the same bottle water. Now, let's use Swan versus Eva. So, Swan is selling for 100 naira. Eva Water is selling for 100 naira. But Swan is saying that it's costing them 45 naira to produce. Eva is saying it's costing them 25 naira to produce. Just based on that, who is doing better? Why? Their cost of production is low. That means they are doing better. That is, they are more efficient in terms of production than one. That's revenue, 100 naira minus the 30 naira or the 45 naira. That is our gross profit. Now we have produced this bottle. Now this bottle water is in our warehouse. How do we sell this bottle water? Mr. Valentine, you have to go and you have bottle water. Cost of him going from the organization to Mama T's office is operation. Now she has agreed that she will take 20 packs. We need to deliver the 20 packs to her in our office. We pay for logistics, the truck that will carry it. Staff. He's saying that, okay, on a monthly basis, you have to give that is part of our operating expenses, are expenses that we incur to keep the business running. So now imagine that we have produced this thing and we left it in the warehouse. Are the customers going to find themselves in that warehouse to come and pack it? No. You need to incur other expenses to ensure that that thing is in the warehouse and it leads to what? Revenue to sell. First month, Mr. Valentine has gone out. He went to, what's it called? Gwagwalada. From Gwagwalada, he went to Kaduna. He's trying to look for customers. He was able to see, okay, a lot of people are saying, okay, they will buy 500 cartons of this one. And at the end of the month, he now says that you know, you have not been able to generate money, I owe you for this month, give me 10%. Do you think you go the same length, you go to maybe from Kaduna to Kano to go and look for customers? Just say now, when my money reach, I go now. I'll just go from here to Uye. From Uye, I'll go to here, Kado. From Kado, I'll go to this place and back to the office. The motivation is less. So operating expenses are those costs that you incur to ensure that the business keeps. But your cost of sales are the cost you incur in producing directly. Do we understand now? Can we move forward? All right. So we've talked about gross profit margin, net profit margin. Ladies and gentlemen, there's another one. We call it. So let me go to our accountant now.
EBITDA is any before interest and tax, then depreciation. Here is an amortization.
So EBITDA, basically, like she said, is earnings before interest, taxes. Sir? She needs it. So they can do it, but now if you don't look at the reason why we are talking about this is because the head don't scatter. Now go find super glue. We'll bring it back together. Huh? No. Now the reason why we are doing this is by the time you are putting your books together, some of the things they will be looking at, you have prepared yourself to address them properly. So that by the time they are asking you questions, you'll be able to provide answers. Or you just want to submit documents to them and they tell you, we'll get back to you, and you never hear from them again. Why this is what we are doing now. Papa, you cannot pay them. So why are you complaining about what we are doing? So EBITDA is basically saying that you want to see the margin, what you earn, or what your profit is before you pay your tax, before you pay the interest you are owing to the bank, before you calculate the depreciation on your assets. Yes. Now, gross profit, like we explained, you are selling this thing for 100 naira. How much did you use in producing this thing? 45 naira. So 100 minus 45 naira. So that 45 naira that I have deducted now, so okay, now let me ask this question. What is the content? Give me examples of the cost you incur in production. The cost, what are those? Give me examples of the cost you incur. The bottle, yes. The label, yes. That is wages. We call that wages. Yes. Yes. Now, so, yes. But those in the offices, Baba, no worry, no hard. You know hard.
Wages, most times wages, as long as we can trace that particular amount to that product, you understand, it becomes wages. But if you can't trace it to a particular product, let me come again. If you can trace an expenses, maybe you pay somebody to do something for you, and then you can trace the expenses to that product. We normally look at it in the form of a wages. But look at salary. For those in the offices, you can't easily trace what they are doing in the offices to any product. No, what we're saying, he asked the question I think the question you were asking is.
Okay, so hello, Mr. Valentine. The net profit and the gross profit, though it sounds similar, but they are not the same. They are not the same as well. They are not the same. Before you can arrive at a gross profit, you must have been able to deduct some expenses or costs that is directly attributable to the products. Yes. So that is gross profit. For net profit now, after no, okay, EBITDA. Okay, EBITDA now is, like I said, earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and amortization. For example, if you have your gross profit, you must have been able to deduct your operating expenses. After the operating expenses, there is interest that you are paying, maybe to the people, to the bank, or anybody that finance your operation. Then there is depreciation also. The depreciation and amortization is based on your assets, whether tangible or intangible. You must have been able to arrive or to calculate that before you arrive at your net profit. So there is difference between the two. Without you bringing in all those deductions, you won't be able to arrive at your EBITDA. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Afonkisho wants to say something. She wants to add something.
I think to make you not to be confused, Valentine. Yeah, what she has said is very spot on. But to make you not to be confused, gross profit is your revenue minus your cost of goods sold. Direct costs that relates to that product. And EBITDA is, you will now add minus operating expenses. Operating expenses includes your marketing activities, salaries, and all that. Yes, that is the EBITDA. Yes, then when you now remove all that, you now get to net profits. You can't?
My brother, I will tell you that that is a lot of work. It is a lot of work. So what, okay, so are you trying to calculate your net profit daily? Huh? So if you cannot calculate your net profit daily, so why do you want to calculate EBITDA daily? Yeah, that's why you are here. So if you come out tomorrow now, you meet one babe, will be accountant. You just tell her what's your EBITDA. Thank you. So, for profitability ratios, these ratios are basically calculated in line with income statement. Those ratios are basically restricted to income statement. Okay? So now we've really spent a lot of time. So, but anyways, let me just quickly finish this. Liquidity ratio, like you explained. Valentine, I used you as an example when you were not around. I was trying to explain liquidity. Like, as it be now, you get one babe where you don't the high since. Right? Eh? It is sure. You have a babe you've been trying to check for a while. So on the 15th or 16th of the month, this girl just sent you a message. Wow, what's up? Where are you? Say I'm at work. Say I'm bored. You're like, okay, can you take me out? But that 15, 16 now, you don't look waiting day your account balance. 75K no go far. Because say if you like impress the babe so that, somehow, some way, your steals and composure go you understand, it will be going up. So if she calls you that particular period, that 15, 16, and you know what is left in your account, the kind of response you give her will be somehow you go dodge her, tell them say maybe they travel from one meeting or the other. Larry, you by yourself, now you go carry phone, right? You call her, Abby, and if she tells you that, okay, I'm with a couple of my friends, what would you say? Eh? Odogu does not.
Let them come. So what we are trying to paint, what we are trying to explain there is, with what you have in your pocket, you are liquid enough to cover your expenses or the obligations. You are liquid enough to cover your expenses or the obligations. So what liquidity is just talking about is how does an organization cover their short-term obligations? Are we together? So for cash at hand, it's yes, it can be attributed to. Don't confuse yourself too much. This is just okay. How can you either you have the cash in your pocket or you have it in your ATM card, but you know that when the need arises, you will pay no matter how. Even if you don't have your ATM card, you have your OPay to do the transfer. So you understand now? Eh? Okay, so let's look at examples of liquidity ratio. Examples of liquidity ratio, we have just two. We have what we call current ratio and what? Quick ratio. Current ratio and quick ratio. Now, for current ratio, it's just saying how many times can your current assets cover your current liabilities. Now, let's use numbers. I have 20,000 in my bank account. And Madam is saying what I'm owing everybody is 5,000 naira. I have 20,000, but she's saying what I'm owing is 5,000. If you divide your current assets, which is my 20,000, over my current liability, what does that give us? Eh? What does that tell me? I am liquid. Even if you tell me, say, guy, you owe me another 2,000 or 3,000 before, when I know that, Madam, don't worry, I'll transfer it. Have you seen it? That's the question I'll be. Have you seen it alert? So current ratio is just telling you how much does what you have, how many times can it cover what you are owing? If you cannot cover it properly, then the business is sick. But if you can cover it properly, what does that say? You are healthy. So here, Valentine now, Odogu know they shake now. Even if they reach 15, make them they come. Because so the other one is quick ratio. Quick ratio. So just like my Oga was saying the other time, your current assets is your cash and what you can quickly convert to cash per time. So the difference between our current ratio and quick ratio here is just the inventory that we have, what we call stock. It's just you take out stock from your current asset over your current liability. We get our quick ratio. But that quick ratio now, we can also call it acid test ratio. It's just English. Let's just leave it at quick ratio. So current ratio is current assets over current liabilities. All right? While our quick ratio is current assets minus inventory over current liabilities. So this current that we are talking about, which of the financial statement can we see it in? Val, you are trying your best. Okay, you will come up, don't worry. By the time we are done tomorrow, you will realize that, okay, you are better than your best. Don't worry. If you don't finish, promise me if you lead your group tomorrow and you win the class, I have an accountant that is a female. That will, anyways. All right, so now leverage ratio, please. This is very, very important to Madam Funke and the other BOI people. It is very important to them. What this ratio is saying is how much of debt do you have in your business? What is your debt to equity ratio? And they also want to see how many times can you cover the debt. No, we've moved on to another type of ratio now. We are under leverage ratios now. Right? It's sounding like, no, it's not correct. Debt equity ratio. How much? How much of other people's money? Business. That can cover your short-term expectation, yes, what you owe. Leverage ratio is how much of other people's money are you using to run your business? Aliko Dangote has a refinery that is worth $20 billion. Are you saying the $20 billion is entirely his own? Huh? Yes. So that 20 billion is not entirely his own. He got money from somewhere. That money he got from somewhere is what we call other people's money, OPM. So what Madam Funke will be wanting to see in your book before they give you loan is how much of other people's money do you have in your business currently? Other people's money in your business is higher, it's 70-30 or it's 80-20. Then it begins to give some mixed signals. Are we together? Then at the same time, they'll want to see, what's it called? We call it debt service ratio. How convenient is it for you to service debt that you owe? Now, let me give us statistics. This is 2025, 2022, 2023. For every 100 naira Nigeria was generating, Nigeria was using between 65 and 75 naira to pay interest on loan, not to pay the loan back. If Nigeria is generating 100 naira now as a country, we are using 65 naira from that money to pay interest on the entire loan. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are, nobody else get the country. As at then, you're not the only one. How much Nigeria was owing then for us to be using 60, 70, between 65 and 75% of what we are earning to pay interest. Interest, not that we are paying the loan back. As at then. You know how bad it was. So debt service coverage measures the ability to service debt. What we have generated. Now remember that our income statement will say revenue, gross profit, plus interest tax to arrive at the net income. So now, what Madam Funke will be looking at is how do you have the ability to service your debt from your net income? Another thing they will look at is, commercial banks interest, because that interest is their own income. So there is a measure, they have a test they carry out to see if you can cover that interest payment. We call it interest coverage ratio. They want to see, okay, if we give you this 5 million, you use it for your operations. At the end of the day, you say you are generating 2.5 million as net income.
and our own interest, going by the calculation, they're supposed to be paying us 250,000 on a monthly basis or every year. Debt service ratio is different from interest coverage ratio. Debt service ratio is, we've given you 5 million. Can you pay us back the 5 million from the money you have generated? Interest coverage is from the money you have from your net income. How many times can you pay us this interest back? Like, for example, we said that our net income is 150,000, right? Interest that we are supposed to be paying on the 5 million naira loan they are giving us is 15,000. So we generated 150,000 as net income. How many times can we cover our interest payment? 150 divided by 15 will give us 10. So if your interest coverage is saying you can cover your interest payments 10 times, and you are seeing another organization that is saying they can cover their interest payments 2 times, as a financial organization, who would you want to give your money to? The one that can cover it 10 times. So you understand what we are saying about different tests now for us to be able to arrive, for the financials to be able to arrive at a position and say that, okay, these guys will give them the money or we give them. Are we together? So the last one we'll talk about here is efficiency ratio. Efficiency ratio is basically talking about how well you use your assets to generate revenue. How well do you use your assets to generate revenue? But gentlemen, the most important ratios for our financial institutions are the leverage ratios. Can you cover your debt properly? Can you pay us the interest when you are supposed to pay? How much of other people's money do you have in your business operations? Are we together? So now we have other financial metrics that are being used by commercial banks and other financial institutions. But I will not want to break Valentine's head by discussing them in depth. But I'll just run through it. We have what we call the net present value, internal rate of return, and the pay. These are other methods that financial institutions use to determine our performance in terms of profitability and all that. So, I would like to pull my brakes here for today because our time is fast spent. But please, I would want to seek our indulgence. Please, I would appreciate if you can come in as early as possible tomorrow. Please, can I ask that we resume by 9:30 a.m. tomorrow? Is it doable? Please, I'm begging us. Can we be here by 9:30 a.m. tomorrow? Because we have a lot of activity to cover. And I have a prize. I'm going to bring in a prize. By the time you guys are coming in, you see the prize downstairs. We'll be doing our activities in groups tomorrow. Sir? Elox? How much is my body? What is my net worth? Ma? If you come before 9:30, yes, you drive my car home. Ma? I'm not saying it's Elox, but if you come before 9:30. However, I want to pull the brakes here, but tomorrow, let me just prepare our mind. We are going to engage in group activity, so I will need to, all the BOIs, finance people, they will not be together tomorrow, so that they will not use us to shine. We have group activities and be able to do a lot of hard work tomorrow. So, but before we call it a day, do we have any questions? Oh, I love you.
Come all the time, so it's better I make use of it. It's unrelated, but it has been on my mind. What's the difference between simple and compound interest? Like you're getting a loan of 5 million and they said it's 9%. So what do you interest
Well, those that take those decisions are here. Those that do So, Afunki Show, do you want to help me out? Okay, I'll guard it.
On a loan or on investment? Do they do compound interest on loan? I think compound interest is applied on investment. Because if it's on an investment, it's very straightforward. For instance, you do an investment of say 1 million at 10% interest rate. That gives you 10% of 1 million. Will give us 100,000. That is your interest for that particular period, say maybe a year or so. So they had back that interest on the principal. So you now have principal of 1.1 million. Do another 10% of it. That will give you, instead of having 1 million, you have it being 1 million, 100, 1 million. So it keeps rolling on like that. So by the time they had the 1 million, 100 to your principal, it shoots up. Do another 10% of it. It keeps increasing. That is the way I can explain simple and compound interest. But I wouldn't know how it applies to a loan. So maybe any other person can help us.
Applying to a loan. So simple interest is just simple and straight. However, the compound interest means that there's going to be interest on the interest. For instance, you just use the example of 10, 10%. So when you calculate a straight line like that, you get 10%, and you use the example of, say, 1 million, 10% of it is 100,000, right? By the time you calculate interest again on that 100,000, that means you are calculating interest on the interest portion. That is when it becomes compound interest. Yes. Thank you.
Just to add to what has been said, then another thing is the number of days, either days or years, that you are putting up the investment. Based on the example that was said earlier, 10% of 1 million is 100,000. So by the time let's say 100,000 for a period of 90 days or 180 days, depending on the period that you want to go for. So it will now be calculated. Okay, so the simple analysis I did on my phone is 9% of. I'm trying to come up with something that actually. Okay, 9% of 5 million now is sorry. Just to be on the safer side. 5 million. 9 divided by 100 times 5 million. Okay, so 9% of 5 million now is 450,000 naira. That is simple interest. Multiplied by, let's say, 180 days, which is 6 months, divided by 365 days in a year, which means you are putting up the investment for 180 days at 9%. So it will give you 221,917. That is the interest on the 5 million investment you want to do. So if the thing matures and you want to roll it over again, it now depends on you, either your principal or with interest, then it will now be recalculated again, then depending on the number of days or the number of years you want to put up the investment. Thank you.
Thank you. Other people's money and loan is the same thing. Other people's money could mean financial institution. It is still other people. It's just language. It's just a slang. It's just slang. Money and loan is just a slang. Any other question or contribution from anybody? Casey, are we together? You are good. Akman, very good. Mauga, are we good? You are good. Everybody is saying you are. By tomorrow, I will not hear stories. Oh, Madam Khadija, are you good? Mauga, are we good? All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this junction, I want to say, okay, you have a question? Okay.
I don't know whether it's going to be possible that we have this, like the other training, just after some days, they now send it to our email. Is it possible that we'll have this one in our email today? Like we that are not into the financial aspect, we can go through it so that tomorrow we can, yeah.
Okay, we'll try as much as possible to ensure that we have the training slides as soon as possible. If it is possible today, you will let us know. But we'll try as much as possible to see if we can do that. So at this junction, I would say thank you so very much. But please, like we said, our arrival early tomorrow is very crucial and important so that we can be able to engage ourselves in our group discussion. And like I said, for the best group, there is a prize. Thank you very much.
Thank you. We are going to have a group photograph today and tomorrow. Today we are going to have one. Because at the look of things, many of you may not want to turn up tomorrow. Yes. I want to say that in this hall we have 4 different categories of people here. We have people from MDA and agencies of government. We also have people from bank. We have people from NGO. We also have people from industries. This program is for the industries, but to my own disappointment, not many of the industries. Tomorrow we are going to start earlier than today so that we'll be able to finish before afternoon. And the communication experts, we like to talk to very few people. If you are industries, please, after the lunch, please kindly wait behind so that we can talk. This project is mainly on capacity building, and I've been doing this one for the past 4 years. What is remaining now is in Abuja here, we still have 3 different types of capacity building. The first one is phase 3 of the technical training. Then we have the last phase of technical training, which is that one will come by what it will come on net webinar. Then there is another one coming up. That one is certificate. Then the last one that is mainly for the industry is the CPA, cleaner production assessment. And this one is mainly for the industry. There are only 10 signed on to this. And up to now, we've been able to collect questionnaire for just 4. So the remaining 6, if you cannot get it, we take it back to Lagos. People in Lagos are waiting for us. This is an assessment that you don't pay anything for. If you want to take this kind of assessment in your industry, you are going to pay nothing less than some million. But this one is free of charge, and we are still waiting for people to sign on to it. Please let us come out for a group photograph.
So please one more.